believe that the fandom menace isn't just toxic white males. It's toxic femininity, brought to you by Midnight's Edge with Miss Sarcastic Nerd, Geeky Candy, and your hostess with the mostest, the mistress of mayhem herself, Miss Mary Mayhem. Greetings and salutations to all you fine folk out there in YouTube land. Do not adjust your set. Candy did not dye her hair. This lovely lady beneath me is our special guest tonight, Mandy.
Hi.
Say hi to the folks, Mandy. You may remember her from the sister channel when we had it on there.
Yes. Hey, y'all. What is up?
Hey.
And of course,
Sorry. Hey, Mandy. How are you, honey bunny?
Good. How are you?
I'm glad to see you here tonight. So Candace couldn't make it this evening. She is going on vacation. I do see her in the chat there, of course. But Mandy's our special guest for the evening.
Yay.
Doing a
And
little...
right next to her, of course, is Miss Sarcastic Nerd.
Hi. I'm barely alive right now, but I'm probably going to be even less alive later into the show.
That is a side effect.
Miss with her usual chipper.
Yes.
Wood chipper attitude is more like it. And of course, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think we all died a little bit inside this week.
I know, it's been a rough week, rough weekend. I've been working nonstop. I slept for like 2 hours, but I'm good to go. I'm here with my ladies. Speaking of, right next to me, the hostess with the mostest. She's got more than a Twinkie, that's how much.
What?
A hostess Twinkie.
Oh, that went over my head for like 2 seconds. Hi, guys. I'm here, and I'm ready to do this thing. Holy cow, it's been a weird week, Tom.
Hasn't it?
It's been a really weird week. People are coming out of the woodwork to act like morons over all of the things. And there are so many women sticking their feet in their mouth this week. It's been amusing to watch at least. So
there's been so many that we had to make a special episode earlier this week.
Yes, we've got a twat waffle list of women a mile long at this point. It's true. It's gotten so silly at this point. So we've got obviously Kathleen Kennedy. We've got what's her name? Charlie's Angels.
Elizabeth Banks
acting like a twat waffle, and of course Anita Sarkeesian. Although I'm not sure what else you would have expected from her, but she came out playing a victim card this week. Do we want to run straight into the topics, or?
Are we ready for the news, ladies?
I take it that was a rhetorical question.
Burn it down, guys. Burn it down. So, Anita Sarkeesian pulled out her whammon card, emphasis on the wah, and she decided to be a complete and utter victim. She started this mess off by tweeting about The Mandalorian. Now, I think most of us can agree that The Mandalorian did particularly well. It's doing well, and it's certainly going over well with people. Baby Yoda is a huge hit. Everybody loves Baby Yoda. The memes are insane. But Anita Sarkeesian just can't help herself. She has to go and pick things apart, and she'll even miss stuff. She will even forget to notice things in shows in order to prove her point, I guess, that, women should be in all the things all the time, front and center, prominent, right? So she tweeted out this ridiculous, hysterical tweet. What day did that happen on? I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday? Tom? I'm not sure if you know offhand.
I don't know.
So earlier this week, we'll put it that way. It must have been on at least by Thursday. I'm sure it went down.
I'm sure I blocked it out because of the trauma.
So she tweets out in the middle of the night that, is it just me? Am I super sleepy? Or did I miss that episode 1 didn't have a single speaking female role in it? And the internet did what it does, and it went to work, because of course it did have a female role in it. In case you didn't see The Mandalorian, it had the Mandalorian's armor maker, right? The weapon, or the armor smith, which is a very prominent role in Mandalorian culture, by the way, for those of you uneducated people like Anita Sarkeesian on Star Wars. It had a very prominent role for a female to be in, and she, of course, lost her mind on Twitter and was like, not one speaking female role. And she spelled Mandalorian wrong in a tweet that included a picture that spelled the Mandalorian correctly. Well, of course, the internet went to her aid and decided to go ahead and start essentially grandstanding for her. Poor Anita Sarkeesian. Poor Anita Sarkeesian. So, The Mandalorian is taking heat for its portrayal of women, and now feminist critics are facing waves of online harassment. Well, guess what, guys? I was one of those online harassers.
No, I can't believe it.
I did. I joined right in this one. I was like, it's amazing to me that you can't spell the Mandalorian correctly in a tweet that literally has a picture of the Mandalorian spelled correctly. So I pointed that out. And then I also pointed out that it was ridiculous that you're worried about female representation in the Mandalorian when the entire sequel trilogy focuses on a female hero, like on a heroine. What are you talking about? So I pointed that out. So yes, I joined the online harassment. That's harassment, I guess. So let's go ahead and scroll down here to the part that we want to get into. So after watching the first episode of the Star Wars series for Disney Plus, Sarkeesian tweeted asking if she was just tired or if there wasn't a single female speaking character in the first episode. She was wrong, of course. There was. She was exhausted. Sarkeesian told Insider, missing the one scene where a woman spoke and making a typo in her tweet. In the replies, Sarkeesian corrected herself. Then she went to bed. In the morning, the tweet had more than 3,000 replies, and it currently has close to 7,000. Maybe you should switch to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm sure.
Maybe she should learn to shut the fuck up.
Exactly. I'm sure you will find much to relate to there. One top reply read, no wonder you're so tired. They say you should stretch before making such reaches, especially at your age. Said another with 1,400 likes of its own. Oh, come on.
I wish I could take credit for these.
I know, right? Those are fantastic. So it's an example of dogpiling, a type of online harassment where on Twitter, someone's replies outnumbers likes and retweets and are most likely filled with repetitive, hurtful comments. It's ironic. Women, I guess that's us, especially feminists, get accused of being emotional and angry and all of these things when all we said was, hey, I noticed this thing. Actually, you didn't notice the thing. You were wrong. That was the point. Sorry. And it's kind of a problem. And I think it's really bad for our society, Sarkeesian told Insider. If they didn't reply to it, my tweet would have just been gone. They made it a much bigger deal. And then she, of course, goes on to talk about what a little victim she is. And how she's just calling out the oppressive and regressive ideologies. And she's not doing anything wrong. She's not defending the status quo. So it's her essentially, again, victimizing herself. Well, which is it, Anita? Are you a strong, empowered woman? Are you a strong, empowered feminist? Or are you a victim? Which is it? Because
no, it's more like she wants to stir some shit up because people actually like the fucking show and nobody's fighting about it. Sorry, that is all.
She couldn't possibly know, or she couldn't possibly just be okay with the fact that the show doesn't revolve around women. Oh no, she has to get into the mix of it, not knowing anything about Star Wars herself. So Sarkeesian is the most prominent figure facing dogpiling and harassment in response to her criticism of the series. But she's not the only one. Do what?
Poor soul. Poor woman.
Poor people with and without large Twitter followings, some of who are verified and many who are not, have found themselves overwhelmed with anti-feminist replies and messages across the platforms after tweeting about how few women are in The Mandalorian. That's because it doesn't matter, and you're making a mountain out of a molehill, something that isn't even a molehill. It's like an anthill. It doesn't matter. There are women in there, and it's not centered around them. Whoop-de-doo. So specifically in the first episode, there's one female character wearing a mask who speaks, and two female characters total, along with a few women spotted as extras in the backgrounds of shots. More female characters are expected to play larger roles in the future. Exactly! More female characters are expected to play larger roles in the future. So why are you concerned about this? Why does everything have to be all about women? Why can't we have a male protagonist and not lose our minds over it? So even if you want to give the show the benefit of the doubt and say there's some big wild justification that's going to come around in episode 7, it feels wrong that the vast majority of this world is populated by men or male-identified characters, Sarkeesian said. And I'll let you guys go ahead and make some commentary while I scoot down to the next part of the article.
You know what's going to be funny is when they find out that Funko Pop Baby Yodeling is a girl.
Right? We've had female representation all along. So go ahead, ladies, before I move on to the next article.
Like, it's funny that this week has just been full of us going, poor Hollywood elite. Poor female Hollywood elite. Poor female critic sitting there getting attacked and dogpiled for something they said that was just a criticism. Poor them.
Never mind whether or not it was a valid criticism.
Yeah, it wasn't valid. And what was she trying to do? I mean, what was her end game with that? It was just to, cause hate and discontent. That was pretty much her.
She also wanted her feminist brownie points for noticing something.
Yeah, but she didn't notice anything. She was wrong. She noticed nothing. She was incorrect.
She got an idea and she freaking swan dived into her own grave.
She just ran with it. She didn't care if it was right or not. She's like, I'm going to run with this. And yeah, it bit her in the ass.
Oh, but guys, she was tired. Poor Anita was exhausted. I hear it when you get that whole
episode directed by a female.
Look, I'll say it. I don't care. Oh, yes. And yes, it was directed by a female. And I hear that when you get as old as Anita's getting, that it is easy to get tired. That's what I hear. And I like the criticisms of like you should stretch before reaching like that, right? And especially at her age, she's just trying so hard to remain relevant that she's not even like, adjust your bifocal, sweetheart, and also adjust that hearing aid over there, darling, because apparently you didn't hear that entire scene where you've got a woman standing there with a hammer working out a metal work. She's doing this stuff to. Like this is insane work. Like, I ain't doing that mess. I'm not getting over there with a bunch of Beskar steel and trying to beat and hammer that into place. And you missed that entire scene? How? How did you miss that entire scene? How?
Maybe she had fallen asleep and then woke up. She's exhausted. You know how tiring it is, being a woman and all. It just wears you out, right? So maybe she had fallen asleep and woke up and thought that she was still caught up.
Yeah, I'm well, and look, I'm astounded at the lengths to which this article goes to defend Anita Sarkeesian. So this particular article ticked me off, and I do have a video dropping about this on my own channel tomorrow. So they actually go to full-fledged lying links to try to justify the narrative that they have within this own article. So they talk about the Star Wars fans have a history of harassing women online when faced with criticism. That's interesting. I happen to be one of those women online that's got some criticism.
Telemetry Institute.
Wait. If I do this, can I be one too?
No.
But I'm wearing my pussy hat.
Who made that?
You guys are no fun. You're exclusive as shit. My grandma made it for me.
Your grandma?
And she's been dead for like 3 years.
That's it's impressive. I'm not sure how impressed I should be. Like, did she do that from the grave, Tom? This got morbid. All right. So
super femininity from the other side. I don't know.
From the other side. God bless your grandma. So apparently Star Wars fans have a history of harassing women online when
she'd think that was funny.
Oh my God, Tom.
Online harassment in the Star Wars fandom, particularly of women. We're women. Are you guys good? I feel good. Are you good?
Are you assuming my gender, Mary?
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay, well, I'll just speak for myself then. As a woman, I don't feel harassed by the Star Wars community.
As a cucumber sandwich, I feel very harassed.
Is that what you're identifying as today?
I've been identifying as a cucumber sandwich for like 2 years, and no one has accommodated me at all.
I sent you ketchup. What do you want?
Ketchup on a cucumber sandwich?
Well, what do you put on a cucumber sandwich?
Nothing. Cucumber. Bread.
Well, then what do you want? How else would you like to be validated?
I would like someone to order me at a restaurant.
Mm.
You want somebody to order you and eat you? I'm not even going there.
No one asked for your opinion, Tom.
I am the peanut gallery. You will hear my opinion. That is
So online harassment in the Star Wars fandom, particularly of women, is nothing new. Actresses like Daisy Ridley and Kelly Marie Tran of the latest Disney-owned Star Wars trilogy have recently talked about the negative aspects of the Star Wars community. Liars!
Excuse me. Bullshit. Excuse me. All right.
Complete and utter lies. So this is how far this article goes as to actually reinforce fabricated information. So it talks about Ridley, who stars in the newest Star Wars trilogy as Rey, cut off her Facebook and Instagram accounts like a Skywalker limb due to harassment. You are a liar. And Tran faced racist and misogynistic harassment after appearing as the first woman of color in a leading role in the Star Wars franchise. This is such bullshit. It wasn't their words. They're now quoting Kelly Marie Tran, but they're taking it out of context. So what Kelly Marie Tran is talking about here is she's talking about Hollywood made her feel this way. Hollywood made her feel as though she were inadequate, as though she didn't have a role to play, which is ridiculous. Not the Star Wars fans. So she said, it wasn't their words. It's that I started to believe them, Tran wrote for the New York Times after deleting her Instagram posts in 2018. Their words seemed to confirm what growing up as a woman and a person of color already taught me, that I belonged in margins and spaces, valid only as a minor character in their lives and stories. These are not things that Kelly Marie Tran said of the Star Wars community. These are things that she said of her experience working within Hollywood and within the system. They completely, you are a liar article. You are a liar. You have no concern about the actual facts here. The only thing
they didn't lie. They didn't lie because they just said wrote for New York Times after deleting. They said it happened after deleting her Instagram. They didn't say what she was talking about.
Well, but they did say literally only moments before that that online harassment in the Star Wars fandom, particularly, or they were talking about actresses like Daisy Ridley and Kelly Marie Tran of the latest Star Wars trilogy have recently talked about negative aspects of the Star Wars community. Mm-hmm. So that is how this is being painted. They are absolutely putting this in the light that this is something that happened because of the Star Wars community.
I'm just saying, if you tried to accuse them of lying, that's what they would say. They never said that that's what she was talking about, only that she said it.
Yeah, that would be completely and utterly disingenuous. Like, this is at best disingenuous and at worst flat out lies. The narrative that they're painting here is so completely beyond the pale that I don't know exactly. It's spin, Cybercant. It's complete and utter spin. So we'll go ahead and scoot down here. In the case of The Mandalorian, almost anyone who tweets about the show from a feminist perspective is at risk of being targeted. That's because the feminist perspective is wrong.
So wrong.
Very.
So wrong.
So, all right. So because Star Wars fans' accounts are rounding up tweets that criticize things like the amount of time it took for a woman to speak in the first episode, why does it matter? Why does it matter how long it took a woman to speak? It's not always about women. Why? Why does this matter? This is stupid. Oh, women should always be front and center all of the time on every single thing that ever happens. Otherwise, it's misogynist. That is insane.
You need to go watch Firefly.
So never mind that you had a female character in the show who was portrayed as strong and capable and even a prominent member of the Mandalorian culture. Never mind that you had that, because it didn't happen right away, because it wasn't for an extended period on the screen. Suddenly everyone's a misogynist. So,
all for attention. It's all for attention. These are all bitter, sad women who sit alone in their houses because men don't like them because they're sad and they're how they are and they don't get it. So they blame men for everything.
And they smell like cat pee.
And they smell like.
So, one account rounded up 33 tweets with the caption, SJWs are outraged over the lack of female characters in the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, a show with 3 female characters. Feminists only care about counting the number of minutes women are on screen in Star Wars. Insider spoke with 2 people whose tweets were featured in the roundup who said their tweets were mischaracterized, inspiring a wave of online hate. Both of the people who spoke with Insider said they liked The Mandalorian and will continue watching it, but wanted to point out that it could be better in terms of female representation. This is so stupid. No one's mischaracterizing your stuff. If you, period. Okay, so I'm going to lay this out flat for everybody, okay? Period. If you are worried about the amount of female representation in The Mandalorian, as opposed, if that is even on your radar, when there is so much female representation in Star Wars as a whole, if that's what you're worried about, you have an agenda, and you are not as concerned with how well this show does or whether or not it's even enjoyable as you are with your agenda. You are wrong. Get to stepping. Period. That's where I stand on it. So I don't know why they think it's being mischaracterized. Why they're willing to, you mischaracterized what I sing. See, what I sing was, I didn't say it was a bad show. I just said it doesn't have enough women. Then it's not a bad show. Why are you worried about it? What do you want about?
Mr. Rogers didn't have enough female representation. Can I get mad about that now, please?
Yes.
Bring in Mr. Rogers, man.
All they had was Lady Aberlin.
I love this. This person says, "Oh my, OMG, there's a femcel movement." I love it.
I'm writing that down.
Warren Harris. Hey there.
I absolutely love that. Are we the femcells?
We're the femcells, guys.
Yes.
So it goes on to further victimize Anita Sarkeesian, because I'm sure there is one jackass out there. One person even left a violent message for her in the email submission form on her professional website. It reads, "People like you don't deserve an effing opinion, but at least I'm glad you can voice it." Now that's interesting. I think they're probably skirting a line here that they shouldn't skirt, but at least they did say, "At least I'm glad you can voice it." It doesn't prevent me from calling you a fucking.
What did he call her? I can't make that out in my head.
I'm assuming it's a fucking. I don't know what that word is. R blank something. R-A blank.
It's not even anything offensive. It's just
Mentally challenged.
Retarded.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
It doesn't prevent me from calling you fucking retarded for spouting your misandry. How does it fucking feel? I hope you expire and never have children.
Oh my gosh.
I want to meet this person. Is this the worst that she got? This is the worst.
This is what they're citing as the worst that she got. Look, it's not nice. But it's
no, but freedom of speech, like you said, he made it very clear. You have freedom of speech, so do I. So here's some few words put together into a sentence.
Yeah, let's string some colorful words. Look, it's not nice. No one's saying it's nice. And should it have been sent? Probably not. But it's also funny as hell.
I'm clapping because it's funny as hell. Before someone takes this out of content and said we're clapping at violence against.
No, but there's no violence insinuated here. That's the crazy part here, is that this doesn't insinuate any violence. It does call her some pretty nasty names. But truth be told, if I were in the same room staring Anita Sarkeesian in the eye, I'd probably call her the same nasty names. And he doesn't say go kill yourself. He doesn't say I want someone to hurt. He just says I hope you expire, right? Which we all will at some point.
The next thing she said.
And never have children.
No, her response though, I love this.
Oh, I had to put everything on private for my own mental health. She told Insider, "I just had to shut down my profile. I will never, ever, ever tweet about Star Wars again." Throw another ever in there, Anita. "And I love Baby Yoda so much. But I can't. They won. Life's too short for me to fight this fight." Good. Get out. Go away.
Yeah.
Bye, Felicia. Bye. Won't miss you. Didn't want you in their Star Wars stuff
I
anymore.
read Steve's comment, Tom.
Even after setting her accounts to private, she was inundated by hundreds of follow requests on Twitter, along with DMs sent to her private Instagram. So those who tweeted about the female representation in The Mandalorian stand by their words despite the harassment. So this just kind of goes on to talk about how the harassment that went down, people stand by what they said and they don't condone harassment. Well, go figure. Go figure. We don't condone harassment. No one is saying go. Look, we're not telling anyone in the chat to go tweet at Anita Sarkeesian. Don't go message. Leave Anita alone. Leave her alone. Just leave her alone, guys. I'm just saying, don't go bothering Anita Sarkeesian. She's got enough to worry about right now, guys. Leave her alone. But I think it's interesting that you literally in your own article point out that people who are tweeting about this stand by what we're saying. We stand by what we say. That we don't want her harassed. We just also acknowledge she's a fucking moron.
Yes.
So what's the problem here? What's the problem?
This is funny. This is just hilarious to me. All of this. These poor, sad person who had to private their account and can't ever talk about Star Wars again. She's not a Star Wars fan.
Okay, I gotta bring this up. I totally forgot to bring this up as the news tonight. But this is just how fucking toxic these women are. Remember the Joker thing that everybody was worried about males fucking being a problem? And everything went off without a hitch? No, I just lost the damn thing. There was a machete fight from teenage girls at Frozen 2. This is no joke. This really fucking happened.
No.
Yes, I forgot all about it. I was going to bring it on the show. Maybe if we get some time, we'll bring it up later.
Okay.
This is no joke. This actually fucking happened at a theater. A couple of women got it, or teenage women,
Teenage girls are toxic.
Yeah, they got into a machete fight. Where the fuck did they get machetes? That's my first question.
Yeah, where this was.
I'll find out for us.
Yeah, do some digging and pull it up first. I had not heard about this.
Did they have them in their purse? Are they walking? Are there people walking
That's what I was wondering.
in their purse? What the hell is going on?
Whip out your machete and start dueling in the theater.
Right?
I want to be like Elsa.
Let it go.
Let it go. Shit, bitch should have just let it go.
Oh my God.
We got a couple of super chats. DCB Titan, Canadian, $2. Eh? Thank you so much. Anita is as much a Star Wars fan as she is a gamer. Ooh.
Exactly.
And then Ryan, we had Wyatt Holiday said, words they don't like are attacks, and things they don't want to hear are violence. Also, go Mandy. Wart the Wizard is still in demand on Indiegogo.
Absolutely. And we are thrilled to have Mandy here with us tonight. She is a wonderful guest. We are definitely appreciative of her. And speaking of Mandy, you're more from the Comicsgate side of things, right? Well, we got your boy, Uncle Ethan. Uncle Ethan gets brought up in this article. Go, Uncle Ethan.
We did have a super chat from Ryan Cannell, too, but he was just hitting on miss. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
he purchased me.
And that is all.
You need to spend a little more next time, Ryan. I'm just saying. Lady got value. So they do go into the sort of how the tweets that they're not encouraging harassment. They're not encouraging violence. What they are saying is that she's a twat waffle and she's stupid, right? So then a video gets uploaded. So this is cool right here. Within a few hours, a video had been uploaded about this article, which had not been written yet, to YouTube from a channel with more than 130,000 subscribers. The video in question has been viewed more than 33,000 times and highlights the mentality in at least one corner of the Star Wars fandom that is male dominated and is aggressive towards diverse media representation. You guys are stupid. And here's what I will say about that. Uncle Ethan does not despise women. He does not hate women. We know. We actually engage with the guy. We actually know something about him. You are spinning him right here. You are turning him into a monster. But Uncle Ethan is as far from misogynist as it gets. He's an incredibly sweet, an incredibly caring person. He's an incredibly caring human being. He's not a misogynist. He's calling out the stupidity here. So you heard it from the horse's mouths here. And I mean, if anybody could add commentary, because you are thoroughly engaged with the Comicsgate side, right, Mandy?
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, Ethan has never been anything but supportive. I mean, there's never been any little woman go make me a sandwich type thing. Yeah, he treats everybody the same. He loves his wife, he loves his daughter. Yeah, so yeah, it's bullshit. They're just trying to make him a villain.
They turn him into a villain
Every
because
time.
yeah, because he's talking about the SJWs do it as what SJWs do is as soon as this kind of thing happens, they identify the Twitter account that posted the roundup as hostile to their narrative. I would call them left-wing garbage. The voiceover of the YouTuber Comic Artist Pro Secrets says in the video, they are going to come in and write an article smearing the Twitter account, and don't you dare shine a light on these cockroaches in such an effective way ever again, the YouTuber mocked, referring to the feminist critics as the cockroaches in the situation.
Aww.
This is a strategy that these sorts of anti-progressive, very regressive cyber mobs have used for years, Sarkeesian said. They try to use social justice language against us when we try to bring these issues up, but it's so transparent and so obvious what they're trying to do by undermining our point. It's very bad faith. You know what's bad faith? Anita Sarkeesian. Bad faith is tweeting about a show and saying it doesn't have any female representation in it when it does. That's bad faith. Bad faith is lying. Oh, did I just miss it? No, that's bad faith. Is when you have no clue what you're talking about and you try to stir up controversy so that you can make yourself more relevant. That's bad faith, my dear. There's nothing bad faith about what Uncle Ethan did. All he did was shine a light on the fact that this ridiculous feminist agenda is gone overboard to the point where you are now not even willing to acknowledge when a woman is staring you in the face.
Yes.
Sorry, I got a little worked up. I actually really hate this article. So I will scroll down to the end here. So Sarkeesian also stood by her original point. This is it right here. She stood by her original point. She didn't even back down. That the Mandalorian should have more female characters, and said a lot of the negative response was because there's so much pushback from people who have historically been overrepresented on the screen and are hostile to the changing expectations for diverse characters that represent the diverse Star Wars fan base. You don't even know the Star Wars fan base, Anita Sarkeesian. You don't know it. We are so accustomed to male-dominated narratives that it's easy to not even notice glaring omissions. What omission? There was no omission. There was a woman on the screen, you moron. She said, unlike if the entire cast had been women, I suspect everyone would have immediately noticed that, regardless of what one's opinion would be on that casting choice. Yeah, we would have noticed because it's what they keep doing over and over and over again.
You know how we know she's not a Star Wars fan, or any of these feminists aren't Doctor Who fans, she isn't a Star Wars fan, because instead of talking about the continuity issues of the show or Baby Yoda, where's Baby Yoda? Instead of having posts about like, oh my God, I wonder where Baby Yoda's from, she made a post about there being a lack of female representation in the show when there was an actual female in the show. That is how not a Star Wars fan she is. She is just a feminist looking for her brownie points, looking for her sisters on Twitter to go, oh yes, queen, yes, we are so underappreciated and patriarchy, and oh my God, they're just all idiots, and they are not Star Wars fans. They're just trying to get whatever they want through the stupid fan service shit that Disney is providing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like this is a pearl clutching moment, right? This is a moment when the girls come out and they grab their pearls and they go, oh guys, oh my God, there's not enough female representation in The Mandalorian. Let me just absolutely lose my mind over here, because and that's just the crazy part, is that she stood by it. She stood by her initial tweet, even though it was 100% wrong.
Yeah, she's called out on her bullshit. And instead of being like, okay, yes, I may have been wrong, she's like, no, I'm good. No, I stand by that shit. And it's so wrong. How can you stand by something that is that incredibly wrong and just be like, you ain't going to change my mind? What an asshole.
It's the same argument over and over again, where they say they want something, but when they get it, they go, but still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't care. And they don't care if they They don't care what franchise gets taken down because of them trying to prove a point that only they really believe in. I don't know. They are just the oddest group of people I think ever met. That is, it's just bizarre. It's so bizarre to me.
And I love that Stig pointed it out in the chat that she's assuming a lot of things. You're assuming genders, Little Miss Woke Pants. You're assuming a whole lot of things by assuming that, I don't know, that Baby Yoda is a male or that he's identified as a male, right? Because Baby Yoda is literally a whole lot of things in episode 2, right?
Before the episode came out that basically said he's a guy now, she assumed that he was a guy.
Yeah, she has no idea what and let's assume it mattered. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. But let's assume that it mattered for 2 seconds, that whether or not you had a bunch of females on screen. You don't even know what the gender of Baby Yoda is, nor any of the genders of the background people that you see walking around. You had a strong, prominent female in an armor smith role, a prominent Mandalorian culture role. You had that there, and that wasn't enough for you. And then you assumed the rest was bad. You assumed the rest lacked representation, and that is, well, it goes against everything that you are. Aren't you supposed to be woke, assuming genders over there, sweetheart? Just saying.
Good point. Good point. Exactly. Yeah.
So, it's just her doing her absolute best to stir up relevancy for herself, because she's so completely irrelevant now, and also this determination to constantly push this narrative. This is what we're fighting against, folks. This is our problem. This is what we are against right here, is this notion that you have to stick females front and center in order for something to be valid. That's not the case. What do we want in our stories? We want good characters. We want good writing. We want good storytelling. And if the person on screen happens to represent me, all the better.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't care if there wasn't a single female in it. Not one. Not one. I wouldn't care as long as the story's good, the characters are good. It fits with right. Yeah, exactly. I would care not one bit if there was not one single female in it. I would be okay with that.
I just like growing up watching like the shows that I'm into now, like Doctor Who or Firefly, and it's like I never watched those shows and went, a female I can identify with. I never.
No.
Ever.
It's insane. It's insane that there are people that actually try to act like that as women. That's what we do. I mean, I wrote a comic book. My main character is male. It's not female. I can't draw them well. So.
And I believe you also play D&D, right, Mandy?
I do. I do.
Interestingly enough, I'm also able to identify with male characters. My last D&D campaign that I played before starting the one over on my channel, I played a male bard. Why? Because I thought it was fun. Because I didn't care that it wasn't a female. Now, do I typically play as a female? Sure, I usually do. But every once in a while, I'll switch it up and I'll play a male character. Why? Because I don't need it to be a female in order for me to be able to identify with it, engage with it, enjoy it.
Correct.
That doesn't Yes.
And it's offensive to us that they actually think that we do need that, and that we literally sit there and wait. Oh, look, another female. Yay, I'm represented. Nobody does that. Never, ever. Nobody does that.
Nope.
It's offensive that they're coming out and they're making these articles and they're completely going, we don't exist. We can't possibly exist. We agree with her because we're a female. That's offensive.
I've done it twice, Mandy.
I love that. Anon was like, bard player confirmed. That's right. I'm a bard. I love bards. Bards are OP as all get out. It's a lot of fun. Chaotic neutral. Dang, Skippy. Ew. Sorry, my D&D people are in the house tonight. I love it. So I'm pretty much done with this article, Tom. I'm over Anita, and I think, well, I'm over her. A lot of people are over Anita.
Oh, yes.
Sounds good to me.
We do have a doozy of an article as well for Kathleen Kennedy, if I'm correct.
Bum, ba, bum, bum.
Yeah.
Who let her out of the cage?
Have a bump and a,
Oh, this lady. Oh, wow.
all of these women.
They're so special.
But you know what's fun that I'm noticing lately? There's so many more women coming out of the woodwork on who agree with us.
Thank God, too. Thank
Oh my
God, because You know, I get annoyed when I hear guys say that because of feminism, they won't hold a door open for a female anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had guys actually say, I quit doing that just because, well, they don't speak for me. Hell, hold my door open. I'm good with it. It's common courtesy. It doesn't offend me.
It's gotten worse than that, actually, Mandy. Go ahead and type in just a few keywords, and you can find articles where guys are afraid to ask women out anymore because of the Me Too movement. Guys are afraid to work alone with women because of the Me Too movement. Some men and women are afraid to hire attractive women because of the Me Too movement because they just don't want the headache. It's just basically backfired in their faces.
Yeah.
And you ladies are paying the price for it, unfortunately. So anyway, I'm going to scoot back so you ladies can talk about Crazy KK.
So it's interesting, guys. She's been hiding out for like years at this point now. She hasn't opened her mouth to say more than just a few words here and there. And maybe that was for the best, honestly. Because when you read this article, you start to realize this woman's a moron. I don't know. She had to know that we would pick this article apart, right? Like, she had to know that.
Well, I have to say this before you get into it, because I've said this every time I think about this article. Not just look at it, but think about it. She conducted this article over a month ago, okay? They had a month to stop this.
Mm-hmm.
Where is somebody at Disney going, stop the press, this is not what we need out there right now? Because, yeah, you guys are going to probably spend a lot of time on this. It's a fucking doozy.
Yeah.
I don't know. This woman is fucking legitimately insane.
Oh, she's nuts.
That is all. I'm nuts, and she's even nuttier.
She stuck her foot in her mouth over and over and over again, all over one interview. She gave one interview, and she stuck her foot in her mouth over and over and over again with this interview. So we'll start with the one that's been the most discussed since this article came out, and this was essentially her being asked about the sequel trilogy and whether or not this was a particularly hard nut to crack for her, right? She said, well, every one of these movies is a particularly hard nut to crack. There's no source material.
Did Miss just die? Never mind.
We don't have comic books. We don't have 800-page novels. We don't have anything other than passionate storytellers who get together and talk about what the next iteration might be. So I don't know if you guys all saw that interview where she was with George Lucas way back before all the crazy started, right? And George is essentially presenting her with this, and he says, you have a treasure trove of material here. We've got comics, we've got novels. Your friend, Kathleen Kennedy, the person who you claimed to be a good friend of. And I'm sure I know that they've known each other for a long time. But when I say, now I'm not saying George isn't her friend. I'm saying she's no friend to George. Yeah. She can't even recall that he literally sat there in a room with her and said, you have a treasure trove of material here. Not to mention the story treatments for episodes 7, 8, and 9. Not to even mention those that he handed you on a silver platter. You don't have any source material.
Was she serious?
Yeah. As a heartbeat.
How can you be connected to Star Wars to her level and not know that there have been books, comic books? Hell, there's coloring books. I know for a fact I used to sit and color in a Star Wars coloring book. This bitch is nuts.
You could find more inspiration in a coloring book than in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, oh my gosh. So she was serious. She really said this.
Yeah, she said this.
And nobody at nobody at Disney were like, hey, wait. They got books. There's books. So nobody said nothing. Just let her go on with this.
Just let it happen.
Holy shit. Okay. All right, carry on. Sorry. I'm just
But
astounded.
when she says there's nothing, she means that I got rid of all that shit.
That must be what she meant is there's nothing that fits our agenda. So, we're just going to have to make a new one, I guess.
There's nothing left. I put that shit in a bonfire, lit it up, had myself a glass of wine. There's nothing.
Holy crap, this lady. Okay. All right, then. You do it, Kathleen.
We had ourselves a little party and burned it all down.
I mean,
look,
did you see the end?
Kathleen, honey, just because you don't recognize that those things exist doesn't in fact mean that they don't exist. It just means you're an idiot.
Yes.
Imagine Return of the Jedi, but as a book burning at the end.
They would have had a ton of material to burn. That would have been a very, very long bonfire.
Yes.
They would have destroyed the earth too. Like the atmosphere would have cracked open because of all the shit they burned.
But we don't have any source material, guys. We don't have any. Look, it took me 3 weeks just to get through the first part of the Thrawn series, the Thrawn trilogy. The Heir to the Empire. It took me through. It was on an audiobook. It took me 3 weeks to get through it.
I have never been more proud to have these books with me. Never been more proud that I spent money to get these.
If you speed read through this material, it would still take you years.
Yep.
And let's say you wanted to go. Let's say you didn't want to go, the Old Republic, right? Let's say you wanted to stay out of the Old Republic era, which is massive, right? And you wanted to go the sequel era. You could have gone with the Thrawn trilogy, you moron. Everyone knows about that. Literally everyone knows about that.
I mean, geez, they could have made, see, that's the thing I think that bothers us the most about the whole Left Jedi thing, because they could have done absolutely anything. They had an entire universe at their fingertips, and it was as if they just were like, nah, I don't want any of that stuff. Let's make our own shit. Fuck all that. JJ, come here, make me some shitty ass movies.
While you're at it, make me a sandwich.
Yeah, make me a sandwich while you're at it.
So yes, she did stick her foot in her mouth. So that was the first thing, she stuck her foot in her mouth. And then she stuck her foot in her mouth, multiple times throughout this article. We're going to focus on basically just sort of 3 different areas. Let me see if I can tighten this down here and locate it. The area where she kind of affirms a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about with Doomcock. So Doomcock had a lot of leaks that he had come out and rumors, and we will happily acknowledge that they're quote unquote rumors. But Kathleen, honey, are you paying attention? You said you were paying attention. I recall seeing multiple times where you said you were paying attention, you were listening to Star Wars fans, right? Well, if you're paying attention, then you would notice a few things. First off, your movie leaked, honey. All of the endings leaked. We know. It still sucks. So that all leaked, and also we're pretty aware of the shit show that's going on behind the scenes right now. So let me go ahead and see if here we go. This part right here. So they asked her, how did you get to the point where you felt we've got this with the story of episode 9? And she said, now keep in mind, the Doomcock rumors were saying essentially that no less than 3 different endings had been tested with different test audiences for The Rise of Skywalker, and that all of them but the George Lucas treatment were horribly rejected, with fans going so far as to laugh it out of the theater. They were laughing their butts off at the initial ending, that they sat there and were amused by how ridiculous that it was. Now, we don't know what all that means exactly, but then they went on to adamantly deny, we don't do test screenings. We don't do that. And we've got it nailed down. We got this nailed down, guys. No, there's not a bunch of different endings for The Rise of Skywalker. We know what we're doing here, right? Well, that's not what Kathleen Kennedy says here. She says, well, I wouldn't say you ever get to a point where you just go, that's it. It's a constantly evolving process. That's jargon, guys. I mean, there's little things that we're trying to get exactly right right now. You never stop the storytelling iterations that go on in making these movies, aka they're still doing shit right this minute, guys, because they are still running around with their hair on fire. We know what that story is. So in this movie, we're taking all of what's come before and we're trying to find a satisfying conclusion. And I think we have, and that's something we can only depend on our instincts to arrive at, whether or not we have. And then we have what I would call the family and friends that you pull in and you show things to when you try to get some kind of feedback and make
I was
sure that
having-
you're making sense and that you're delivering on the things that you intend. Really. You got friends and family in there checking your stuff out, what you would call friends and family. Well, are they friends and family or are they what you would call friends and family, Kathleen? Because if they're what you would call friends and family, that sounds like a whole lot of sidestepping to me. And it also sounds
Test audience.
test audiences.
Yes.
Say it with me, guys. That's
Okay, I got a quick clip here from George Lucas. I finally got it to work
Do
here.
it.
I always said I wasn't going to do any more. And that's true. I'm not going to do any more. But that doesn't mean I'm unwilling to turn it over to Kathy to do more. I have story treatments of 7, 8, and 9 and a bunch of other movies. And obviously we have hundreds of books and comics and everything you could possibly imagine. So, I sort of moved that treasure trove of stories and various things to Kathy, and I have complete confidence that she's going to take them and make great movies.
I appreciate him calling it a treasure trove because it is.
Did you see the look on that smug bitch's face sitting there?
Yes.
She looks like she's ready to pounce, like she's ready to knock George out, be like, move out of the way. I'm handling it now. I can't stand her.
I think it's that I worked under Spielberg ego.
Oh, guys, I got coffee for Spielberg a few times. By the way, he likes it with 2 creams and 3 sugars.
And they let me dance a little bit because I'm so good at it.
Both have that. We worked under Spielberg, so we're better than you kind of attitude to them.
Yeah, it's complete insanity. And this notion that they're still sitting there. So I've got the quote sitting here in front of me because she basically, in so many words, affirms the reshoots that they're doing as they're working on this movie. Because she says, there's still little things that we're trying to get exactly right now. She says they're trying to find a satisfying conclusion. Not that they've found a satisfying conclusion, that they're trying to find a satisfying conclusion. Well, that sounds exactly like what Doomcock said to me, that essentially you're sitting there rotating through all of these different story treatments and all of these different versions of the movie that you've tested with your friends and your family. Test audiences, and you're sitting there trying to see what works. You can literally read the attempts that she's making here to skirt the truth. So that was actually what blew my mind, is that she basically, without saying it in exactly that many words, she essentially admitted, yeah, we have no fucking clue what we're doing at this point right now, guys.
No. Look at her. Oh, I can't with her. I can't.
Wow.
She makes me cringe. Just okay. So does anybody think Disney is going to allow her to do another interview? Because if I was them, I'd be like, all right, bitch, you're done. You're done. You are not doing another interview. You could not have boomered that anymore if you were trying.
She was looking at him like how one looks at a donut.
I know.
She is. She looks at him like he's a morsel.
Yeah.
You'd
He's the
think
last donut left.
Is that the last sprinkle covered donut? Can I get a bite? I'll get you more coffee.
I got some coffee to go with it. My gosh.
Oh, Lord, love a duck. And then I'm going to move on, if you guys don't have any objections, to the last little bit, which is essentially the slap in the face to George Lucas. Let's see here, especially dramatic purposes. I have to get down here. So what's next? Hold on. Here we
Go
go.
on and stab
All right,
the knife
so
a
here we
little
go. Here we go.
deeper.
I'm thinking this is what I want here. So, thanks to Bob Iger's new book, we now know in some detail about George Lucas's dissatisfaction with The Force Awakens. What are your feelings about that? Personally, I've had a relationship with George going back to all of us meeting before Raiders of the Lost Ark. So this is a long 35 plus years that I've known George. That's why he trusted you, you psycho bitch. And I continue to be very, very good friends with George. Are you sure about that, honey? Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure he's pissed. And I think that there's plenty of examples where people create something that is fundamental to who they are, and where it's difficult letting go and watching that become something different. That's because he wasn't supposed to be letting it go and watching it become something different. He was trusting you to preserve these characters. As you said in that interview, when you were sitting there with him, it's so important that we preserve these characters and that we preserve their legacy and their integrity. You said that to him. You promised him that you were going to do whatever you could to maintain his vision of Star Wars here, to maintain the characters that aren't just characters to him, they're family. You promised that. And now you're sitting here talking about how it must be difficult to let that go. Yeah, it is. And you had no respect for it, but you certainly led him to believe that you did, didn't you? You lying twat waffle. Sorry. So I think initially that was difficult for George. I'm pretty sure it's still difficult for George. I don't think he anticipated how hard that would be. And JJ came into it with such enthusiasm and, frankly, reverence for Star Wars and for George. Did he? Did he? I don't think JJ came in with much reverence at all. And I will cite these two sources. First off, he had Leia and Han, or he had Han die estranged from Leia. Han Solo died estranged from Leia.
And never seeing Luke, never reunited with anyone except C-3PO.
Does that sound like reverence to you guys?
No, it sounds like they just took the movie and took a big jack shit on it. It's kind of what I'm getting from it.
I will cite my second thing here because I do have sources to cite. You had Chewbacca walk past Princess Leia, because I refuse to call her General Leia, after Han Solo died, without a word between them. But she hugged a complete stranger. She hugged a complete stranger after Han Solo died, rather than Chewbacca. That's not reverence. Just because you say you have reverence for this stuff doesn't make it true, Kathleen. You're a liar. You say it's not true, and anyone who looks at it can see it. Sorry, you were saying?
It's just where she says where it's difficult letting go and watching that become something different. That wasn't what you said you were going to do. Like you said, you weren't going to completely change it. And how sad that the only way that you could create an interesting story that you had to completely change the universe to your liking instead of adding to it. Instead of adding new things.
Well, they can't do that. That's the thing with them, I've noticed, is they don't want to create anything new that is what they want the world to be. They just want to change what other people like. They don't have the intelligence or whatever to actually create their own characters to make you love them. They shove Rey down your throat, and there's nothing to her. There's no connection to Rey. None. She brings nothing to the table.
I just think about The Force Awakens and Rey and Han and how Han knew Rey for maybe an hour or two, and he was already like, "Hey, you want a job?" I mean, how long did it take for Han to warm up to Luke? I mean,
She took Luke. They took Luke, the most optimistic, most amazing Jedi, and turned him into some weird hermit guy drinking some kind of weird meal. I don't know. And then they just killed him, and no respect, none whatsoever for Luke's character. And it's disgusting. It's just
The
disgusting.
purpose of all of this is to create a space where they can start making their own stories outside of Lucas's world, which is why they're killing all of these characters. And not just killing them, but sort of just slowly taking them out of the spotlight, like Chewbacca, like R2-D2, where they don't matter anymore.
Well, and she's completely diminishing George Lucas's dislike for these films here. Look, he likened this to selling off your children to slavers. He was clearly terrified that his characters would be destroyed, and apparently rightly so. And so he thought, you know what, if I'm going to hand them over to someone, let me hand them to someone who's supposed to be my friend. He thought that in the beginning, that she was his friend, and he chose her specifically because she said how important it was to preserve these characters. That's why he chose her, was because of the impression that she gave him, that she was going to value and cherish these characters. And instead of doing that, she acted like some reckless child who had been reluctantly handed her best friend's toy, their most prized, valuable toy. And then she proceeded to break it. And then upon breaking it, insisted that they shouldn't be upset because it looks better that way anyway.
That is a perfect analogy. That is, when he was upset that his legacy was being destroyed, she's just like, you're being a pussy. Shut up. We got it.
Exactly.
I mean, how do you do that to George Lucas? How can you? Oh my gosh. But that's what she did. Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine a different way really to put it. Oh, well, guys, JJ had to make it his own. That's exactly what George was trying to avoid. Look, you stepped into this sandbox, Star Wars, which survived on the goodwill of fans for decades after it was released. It survived on the goodwill of fans because of what it was, because of how incredibly potent what already existed was for fans. And so to meddle in that sandbox is, look, no doubt, it's a daunting undertaking. It's absolutely a daunting task. So when you say you have reverence for it, that's exactly what you should have had, was reverence for this, because it survived this long because of what it was. And so turning it into your own, making it your own, was not the route to take here. JJ had to make it his own, and that's what frustrated, that's what upset George Lucas. Yes, of course it was, because this was his most prized, valuable, this was his baby, and you took it.
For years, for decades. This has been what he's done. And as a creator myself, that's what you do when you're creating. That becomes your entire life until you're done with that project. So he has spent decades dedicated.
There are not many people who, I don't know if there's not many, but there are few of us Star Trek fans who saw what JJ did when he made Star Trek his own. So, him making Star Wars his own isn't appealing to me. He destroyed Star Trek for his own means, for pretty scenes that he put together. He had no thought into the story. J.J. Abrams is a horrible director, and him making it his own does not make me go, oh, that's okay.
That's what he should do. You are playing in an existing sandbox. You are going into something that already exists. You need to work within the realms of what already exists, not make it your own. But he had to make it his own, guys. Every director who comes into a movie has to make something their own. No. There's a difference here, and we do need to acknowledge this difference. If you are so determined to constantly make reboots and sequels and stay within certain franchises, at least have the decency to do what Marvel does and stay coherent, stay within the realms of the boundaries that you have already been set down, right? So one of the reasons why Marvel was so successful is because there are not many instances, and I'm not saying there are none, but there are not a lot of instances where Marvel goes completely and retcons something and switches the lore that's already been told. They stay within the scope that has already been set out. They work within this framework, and that's why Marvel works. Well, you had a framework here, KK. You had a framework here, JJ. You had a framework here, Ryan Johnson, and you refused to acknowledge the value of that and why it was so important. The reason you bought this IP was because it was important to people. What was already set down was something we had spent decades talking about, decades speculating about, decades discussing, and you threw that out the window so JJ could make it his own and find himself in the storytelling process. And then you want to diminish George Lucas. So what she says here is, so every director has to come into a movie and has to make something their own. They have to find themselves in the storytelling, and then that's going to become a different point of view. And I think that's all George was reacting to, because that's the wrong thing to do, you idiot.
These books are proof that you can create a story within the Star Wars universe without completely destroying the entire universe and making it your own.
Mm-hmm. No, you respect what's already been set down. And you didn't do that. You didn't respect George Lucas. And then you acted like, oh, let's just diminish that pain that you caused him. And yes, you caused him pain, like so many others within Star Wars. You caused us pain. You hurt us emotionally with the choices that you made with this stuff. And you diminished that by acting like it's no big deal. Like he should just get over the fact that you took this thing that he prized and valued and you broke it, but looks better that way. Well, not everyone agrees with you. In fact, a lot of people don't agree with you. We don't think it looks better that way. We think you broke it. And the fact that it doesn't have any arms anymore and it's missing a kneecap doesn't make it better.
And good examples, KOTOR 1 and 2.
Do what?
Also good examples of adding to an existing universe while working within that frame of reference. You can't just create whatever you want because you have no idea how to move forward in creating something new within an existing universe. You have rules. And that's amazing that you're not just working from scratch, even without the books completely, and the novels. The original trilogy and the prequel trilogy provide you with a set of rules which you can work within, a set of how to make a story. So you have that universe there presented to you through the movies, through the canon that you decide is canon, okay? And you still could not work within those rules because you needed to make it your own. Making it your own is not the same as creating something new.
Yeah. You can create something new, and you can even add your own style and flair to it without completely dismantling everything that came before it. We could have respected a person's own unique approach, right? We could have respected a J.J. Abrams approach. I think we could have even respected a Ryan Johnson approach to this, provided that approach took what was already existing into consideration instead of just going, this is what I want to do, so the rest of it. Well, I'm sorry you guys don't like it.
Even George Lucas fucked up Star Wars for himself. Even George Lucas messed up on some of what he did. Not some, but he did mess up story-wise.
Well, I don't think that George Lucas necessarily he certainly didn't mess up. Well, I mean, okay, midi-chlorians aside, a lot of people didn't want that. But he certainly wasn't necessarily the best at telling the story in a way that wasn't cringe heavy in the prequels, but we still respected it. Even it was still cohesive. It still worked within the boundaries. It was respectful of what came before it, even if it in and of itself.
How old are you, Mary? Because
why?
The prequel hate was hardcore when those movies came out.
No, I remember the prequel hate. I'm just saying we still respect that it was cohesive.
Oh, we respected each other. I don't know about the movie itself, but yeah.
Well, we respected it was cohesive. We understood that it at least made sense, right? I'm not saying he didn't mess up in terms of telling cringeworthy stories, and it was difficult to swallow at times, a lot of the junk that went down in it, but it was cohesive. He still knew he was telling a cohesive story.
Well, you can sit with someone and they can talk about all the cringy shit that happened in the prequel trilogy, and you can laugh with them. I can laugh with someone who goes like, "Remember that scene with Anakin and Padme? Like, wasn't that creepy?" I was like, "Yeah, that was freaking creepy." But I still love those movies, and I absolutely will respect the opinions of those who don't love them. But not Tom. I don't respect Tom in it. I don't like Tom.
So she goes on to say, he may not agree with every choice JJ made.
Point taken.
He may not agree with every choice Ryan made, but he appreciates the filmmaking, that I know. And he so appreciates, for instance, what Industrial Light and Magic, Lucasfilm's visual effects arm, has done in the work of these movies. I mean, that's a company he created, and he just continually tells me how astounded he is by how far things have come, and how now whatever comes into your mind can be achieved. And he came down, for instance, on The Mandalorian to see what we were doing. Now that's interesting right there. When the only thing that George Lucas can tell you is cool and copacetic about what you've got going on in terms of the sequel trilogy is it looks really nice. When that's the only nice compliment that George Lucas can give you, you done fucked up.
Yes.
Of course it looks nice. It's 2019. It looks great. The visual effects are awe-inspiring. And I suppose I can understand how one might get lost in them. But at the same time, any critical person who knows anything about Star Wars at all goes into that movie and goes, this doesn't really work well with the rest of this stuff. And if George Lucas is sitting there in a room with you and he says to you, you destroyed everything that I created, but it's really pretty. That's what you're going to take away from the conversation. Hey, guys, good job. We did great.
We did good. We did good, y'all.
George is a puddle in the corner, but it's pretty. It's really pretty.
Even though it's pretty, though, it's like there's a passion that's supposed to be behind those visuals. It's supposed to be there's supposed to be a heart feeling you're supposed to get when you see those visuals. And I get nothing. It's just pretty. That's all that is about it.
It doesn't even feel like you're watching Star Wars anymore.
No.
It has changed so much that, I mean, even with the prequels, it still felt like Star Wars. You were watching, you may not have liked it, but you were still, this feels completely foreign. And I think that's why I'm not really that into it. I've watched the first one, and I watched some of the second one, and I was saddened, and it didn't even feel like Star Wars. And I was like, well, okay, I'm done with this. I'll watch the next one, but I'm going to bitch about
it. Well, I've made my stance very clear on it. I will be seeing The Rise of Skywalker for my channel, obviously, but I will not be giving them my money because I believe very firmly in the notion that you speak with your wallet, right? That you pay for something that you wish to support. Well, I have an obligation to my channel, but I also have an obligation to my morals here, to my ethics and what it is that I stand behind. And so I'm seeing The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, because I have to tell you guys what the hell's going on. But I cannot in good conscience support this financially. I can't do it. I can't do it. Look at this. Look at this. The Death Star is back, guys. Woo!
I cannot get over the glass. I'm sorry.
Isn't this just...
It looks like a weird Daenerys Targaryen scene. It's strange. Very strange.
So no, don't blink. I see that. Am I going to sneak in or what? I have a friend. We'll say that. I have a friend.
Trench coat, parking lot, all the fun.
Yeah. I'm going to sell my body. No.
I wasn't going to go there, but okay, Mary.
No. I have a friend who works at the theater, and I'll leave it at that because obviously, for obvious reasons, I can't stay out on the middle of the internet for the whole world to see exactly what all that entails. But yes, I will be seeing it in the theater. It just will not be present.
I plan to use my magical powers.
I'm a wizardary. So yes, JJ is a total soy hack. Pack Rich Fires member. Speaking of member berries, we have a little something that dropped earlier today, didn't we, Tom?
Yeah. what claimed to be a look at Rise of Skywalker was just a bunch of member berries.
How many member berries?
Get ready to be angry.
Yes. So it was a look at the rise of
We'll play a
Skywalker.
little bit of it, but I don't want to get copy struck. So.
Can we mute it at all, or do we want to try to mute it or no?
Yeah, I'll definitely mute it. I'm not gonna play the audio because I think there's music and shit.
Yeah. So look, it looks really pretty. In terms of like emotional, I did catch the feels watching this.
It's a subliminal message.
It's not really a trailer though. That's the fucked up
No.
part.
Yeah, no, it's not at all.
It's weird that they called it a sneak peek.
Yeah, because what are you getting a sneak peek
I've
of?
gotten more sneak peeks at frickin' strip clubs
There
for
are
free. For
I was about-
free.
David, I was about to say that probably costed you a pretty penny on that
No,
one.
you can
but
get free
alright.
one. That's what I mean. It was for free. I didn't have to pay nothing.
That's good.
Hang on here. I got it.
We're getting it pulled up for you guys.
I
did
actually have this up in two different things. I got my Google and my Chrome and my Firefox up here. Oh, it's a mess. All right, here we go. We'll show a little bit of this, but yeah, it's a bunch of fans and stuff. Yay!
John
Yay!
Boyega, most
Yay!
ever.
Yay!
Hooray!
Yay!
All these
Member
lines.
berries, member berries.
I'm gonna pause it there. That line there is very reminiscent to me because look, I've been in that line, and I've been in these lines more times than I can count when it came to seeing Star Wars. What are they playing on here? They're playing on your nostalgia because if you're like me and you went to see Star Wars and you would stand in lines, you'd stand in them overnight. Like I remember going to the prequels and waiting in line overnight in cosplay with my brother to see these films when they dropped, right? And so they're building on your nostalgia here. They're building on your member berries. I went there. I did that. I remember doing that, guys. Isn't this special? Doesn't this feel like it used to feel? Loading. So and they have a lot of different clips in here. So talking about, oh yeah, Daisy Ridley. So a lot of this is the new stuff, right? But then as you're watching it, they go and they mix in older stuff. Oh, look at all those books, guys. Look at all those comics. No source material.
I didn't even pick up on that.
I didn't either until you just said it. But yeah, there's all that missing source material that doesn't exist. Look at it.
No source material.
None at all.
Oh, old school nostalgia. Star Wars. Remember, Star Wars is old. You like Star Wars, right? Everybody talks about Star Wars. Go see a Star Wars. Han Solo in his prime. Han Solo, remember Han Solo? Episode 2. Remember the prequels? We all saw this stuff. There's
a baby. Babies are cute.
Of course, they're Chewbacca and babies.
So
Kevin Smith.
It speaks to your nostalgia here because it mixes all of this new stuff in, but every once in a while it grabs you with the old, right? And I wish you could hear the audio because there are moments where you hear Carrie Fisher talking. There's a lot of Mark Hamill dialogue in here, right? The Schwartz, they're showing you what an iconic thing that this is, how iconic this is, but this isn't iconic because of what the sequel trilogy did. This is iconic because of what the original and the prequel trilogy did. And they are playing off of that and using it here to suck you in. This is iconic. Guys, Star Wars, this is nothing to do. The Force Awakens is nothing without the originals and the prequels. The Last Jedi is nothing. The Rise of Skywalker is nothing without this stuff. It doesn't register. It's not on your radar without this other stuff. And they know that. They know that. That's why Mark Hamill's voice is talking throughout so much of this clip. Because that invokes feelings. Did I get emotional here? Yeah. Because you mixed in enough of the original stuff that while I was watching it, and it just speaks to how potent the original stuff is, that you managed to drag emotions out of me. Someone who is as disenfranchised with Star Wars as I am. You dragged those emotions out of me. That's not something you should be proud of. It's something George Lucas should be proud of. It's something Mark Hamill should be proud of. It's something that almost called him Han Solo. It's something Harrison Ford should be proud of. It's something Carrie Fisher should be proud of. They should be proud of that because they pulled that out of me in the midst of all of this stuff that makes me sit here and get angry.
Yeah, definitely anger was like the big emotion of watching that because I was saying before we started that it was just It was sequel trilogy images put in between flashes of original trilogy and prequel trilogy images, so to entice you into watching the new Star Wars film, because this proves that they know that people are not interested. People are not interested in what they're going to do with this, and they know it's going to be shit. I don't want it to be shit. I want to make it very clear that I do not want Star Wars to be an absolute shit show by the end of this year. But I expect that it's going to be. And that angers me. And it angers me that they would try to use some sort of subliminal type messaging to get people interested, because they know it's shit. They know.
But that's the only way they're going to get people to go, because any of the things that I got like emotional about with the old stuff.
Yeah.
If you can put, Daisy and all of them in front of me all day, and I'm just going to be like, okay.
Yeah, he was saying Carrie Fisher. Seeing Carrie Fisher was definitely hit the heartstrings pretty good, because we all love Carrie, and Carrie was such an amazing person, and she brought forth Princess Leia perfectly as a character.
Yep.
And she was definitely I don't know how to put it, just a feminist person, someone for a little girl to look up to as a kid when those movies came out, and that was important.
Well, she was a legitimate feminist, right?
She wasn't a victim.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it literally shows that
In the clip. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that Princess Leia is not a princess.
I'm sorry, this clip is a bunch of horse shit.
Yeah.
Now, the stuff in it, not speaking to that, I can cut a bunch of shit like that together and make y'all cry. Okay, this was just blatant fucking pandering. There wasn't one scene from the new movie. Mm-hmm. There was hardly anything from the new movies other than behind the scenes stuff and, fans. And it was like, see, people still love Star Wars. That's what I got from this trailer was, see, people still love Star Wars. It wasn't so much, other than to remind you that you're supposed to love this.
Yeah.
And they avoided showing any of the newer shit just to remind you of why you don't want to see it.
But they don't have anything to show. That's what's mind-blowing for me here.
There's that part too.
They haven't figured out what was it? We got a TV spot last week?
It was like 4 whole new shots.
I think it was. Like 4 new shots.
Those shots also kind of assisted with Doomcock's rumors.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, from what I saw, with the way that the ships looked and where they were, for me, I was like, it kind of looks like how he described it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, and look, the leaks are all over the place. We don't really need you to tell us what's going on Lucasfilm, because cat's out of the bag and it sucks. But it would have been nice if you had bothered to try to paint anything resembling a narrative for your film coming out in any of the trailers that you dropped. But maybe the reason that you didn't do that was because we all already know what's going to happen. So why confirm it?
Tom.
The pissy hat cracks me up.
I got to do my part.
No. Tom, did you ever find anything about the frozen machete?
I did, and I sent it to you in the private chat. You'll have to.
I can share
that up there. Yeah, either
you gotta pull on this.
Yeah.
This is just amazing. Now, on the heels of the news that we are getting a Joker 2, we remember how much trouble the Joker was supposed to be, right?
Oh yes.
Good God, Gertie, what the fuck happened to 13-year-old girls?
Bitches be crazy.
They scare me.
Do you want to read this one for Agnes?
Yeah, I can read it. Okay. So Birmingham Star City, 13-year-old girl among arrests after machete brawl during Frozen 2.
Miss, I think it's messing with you because I think it might be a little too much for your computer. Because is anybody else hearing her break up?
Yeah, she's breaking up real bad.
Pretty bad. Do you want me to do it instead, babe? Just so we don't lose you? Or is it still breaking up?
Is it still breaking up? I can keep talking. Crazy teenagers.
I think she sounds better now.
A little bit better now.
Okay.
Up to 100 teenagers involved in major disorder at cinema, police say. 100 teenagers? A 13-year-old girl is among 5 teenagers arrested over a mass brawl involving youths armed with machetes at Birmingham Cinema. Families were watching Frozen 2 at Star City when the disorder broke out late on Saturday afternoon, sparking a mass evacuation of the complex. Police said up to 100 teenagers were involved in the major disorder, where people were armed with machetes. I like how they keep saying a major disorder. I wonder if that's just them trying to keep from, like...
Well, it's UK. It's UK, so they're going to talk a little differently.
Dozens of officers were sent to the complex after a 999 call just after 5:30 p.m. reporting a group of youths with machetes. A spokesperson for West Midlands Police said 2 machetes were seized during the trouble, which saw pockets of fighting, and 7 police officers left with major injuries as they dealt with the crowds in and around the cinema. Armed police were deployed to the scene, drawing tasers to restore order. Following a very hostile response, officers were left with facial injuries, and a knife was recovered from a nearby roundabout. Investigations said they were working to understand the reason behind the disorder, which bears the hallmarks of an organized fight between rival groups. One witness said that a young boy was crying on the floor with his mother as the fight broke out. Rachel Allison told the Press Association the police told everyone to leave the cinema as they held taser guns in their hands and started to bring in guard dogs. I spoke to a policeman who told me it was unclear whether the kids had weapons, and also stated when kids fight, they bring their group of friends. Eyewitness blah, blah, blah started as she queued up with her daughter from Frozen 2. Oh, said the fight started. Okay. There was a fight in the cinema, a group of girls on one girl, and it all escalated. She wrote on Twitter.
Girl on girl!
Not the kind we wanted.
The group ran
Actually, I'm loving this. This is fucking amazing.
The group ran into the cinema rooms to hide, and a lot of police turned up. Has to be one of the scariest experiences of my life. So sad. All the little children were there. All the police officers. 5 teenagers have been arrested. A 13-year-old girl, another girl, and a boy aged 14, and 19-year-old man were held on suspicion of assaulting police officers. Another boy aged 14 was arrested for obstructing police. Cinema managers closed the complex for the rest of the evening, and police issued a dispersal order, giving them powers to move crowds and arrest those who refused. I don't know what that abbreviation for. Ian Green from Birmingham Police said this was a major outbreak of trouble, which left families who were trying to enjoy a night out at the cinema understandably frightened. We worked quickly to move the crowds on, but were met with a very hostile response. An officer had to draw tasers to restore order. Thankfully, the injuries to our officers were very minor. We've also recovered 2 machetes and a knife. It's very clear. Some of those, they're just re-going over the information that they found machetes and a knife. We've had a great response from the public who have been very supportive of our officers. Green appealed for people to pass footage or photos of the disorder to police who have already received phone calls identifying some suspects. We understand families with young children will have been left upset by what they saw last night, but we urge people to appreciate that our aim last night was to protect the public and restore order. That's what we achieved, he added. Anyone with information is asked to contact.
Yeah, but think of all the stories those kids are going to have to tell for the next couple of years. I went to see Frozen and some lady chopped some other lady up.
So are they saying that this was a group against one girl?
Yeah, it looks like it. That's astounding.
Probably some gang activity of some
Yeah,
type.
it doesn't look like it's directly related to Frozen 2.
I was going to say there was some other article that was kind of remotely related to it about some other movie that come out that had something to do with some gang connection. So
Okay, explains why they have.
But why don't you kill the article, miss? We can't hear you.
Yeah, you crack in and out. Okay. That's well. I just okay. So look, it just goes to show, though, right, that violence can break out under even the most unconducive of circumstances.
They just couldn't let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Okay, so basically what we have here is like a West Side Story type situation where apparently running around is a teenage group of gang members that carry machetes around, and they are not able to go to the rated R movies yet, so they're going to go into Frozen 2 and start some shit, is what I'm getting. Who the hell goes to Frozen 2 and decides, I'm going to cut this bitch? Ha-ha! You get
Well, they weren't smoking.
Oh my gosh. People are crazy.
It would have been a lot worse if they were smoking.
How did you get a machete in there in the first? How do you bring a machete into a movie? What were you just? Did you like have it in the lining of a trench coat or something? How did you
You
get
hide
it?
it in your bra.
You should, dude. You would cut yourself.
They
They
had
had
another one the same day.
Holy crap.
What?
I hope this doesn't become a thing. Y'all don't let this become a thing where they take a machete and cutting people up like Jason. Don't do that.
Guys, I got it. 13 died today at Frozen 2. Sorry.
Do you know how many little kids were probably in that theater that are now probably like traumatized? People are pulling out freaking machetes.
A young 6-year-old girl tied her little ponies together and used them as a whip and started whacking children upside the head.
Holy shit. It's so messed up that it is comical because how is that happening? Where are these children's parents? These kids are 13. Why are they at the theater by themselves?
Well, because they're gang members.
They're
They're
strong, empowered children.
legit. They're
And
legit.
they
Now we
don't
get
need
it.
no
It's not
fun.
really technically a laughing matter. There's a couple people who are getting butt hurt in the chat. But you know what? Nobody died.
Nobody
And
died.
It happened at fucking Frozen, and the humor is in the fact that people lost their goddamn minds over the fucking Joker, and not one little thing happened. But here we go, Frozen 2, you get 100 kids in a brawl and machetes.
Yep. That's what's most amusing to me is that, and look, it goes to prove the point that it could have been anything, right? It could have been any. I understand that people harkened back to
Yeah,
back.
this could have happened in Toy Story 4 for fuck's
Exactly.
sake. But yeah, that's just the point. Yeah.
People harkened back to the shooting that went down with Batman, right? Well, they used the Batman as an excuse, right? Because it was a dark movie, right? And so then they decided to point fingers at the Joker as an excuse.
Well, the only reason that kid chose that theater was because he knew there'd be the most people in there because it was the night that
Exactly.
movie opened. It had nothing to do with the Joker, had nothing to do with Batman or anything else.
Exactly.
It could have been The Notebook.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Exactly, but nobody went to see that, I don't think.
It was
until it came out on video,
hyperbolic.
but-
Well, if we
Don't
all
saw The Notebook.
if we
I know
all
it did well on video. Sorry, Mary.
if we all wanted to be as hyperbolic as the mainstream media likes to be with this stuff, then we would turn around and we would look at this and we would go, oh my God, guys, Frozen 2 is inspiring violence. They're hacking each other up with machetes. But we look at these things realistically. We take the information. We recognize this had nothing to do with Frozen 2. This had to do with the circumstances surrounding this particular incident. They wanted to go in and they were looking for a fight. Frozen 2 was just an incidental happenstance. But we're objective enough to take a step back and look at it and go, okay, so that's the case here, right? But the hyperbole that comes to us from the mainstream media will paint it a very different way. Well, let's all just slam the Joker, even though it's done nothing wrong. It's a quality movie. People genuinely enjoy it, and it's not inciting violence. But let's just slam that because, we don't like that there's an incel in it, right? We don't like that it's the depiction of a white male having a hell of a time. We don't like to acknowledge that that exists and that's out there and that something should probably be done about it, right? Well, we're not as hyperbolic as them, and Frozen 2, machete fight, and we can laugh at the fact that it has nothing to do with Frozen 2, and little girls are whipping around their My Little Ponies and making
And
shit.
yeah, some kids got traumatized, but you know what? A lot of them are going to get over it. Okay,
Okay.
there's kids who live in a hell of a lot worse circumstances that it's real difficult to feel sorry for first world problems sometimes.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Nobody got seriously injured here, guys.
That's the point.
Not like when those hooligans were smoking outside the theater.
Damn
Those
smokers.
damn
Oh,
hooligans.
if one of you ladies could jump on Twitter, Candace shared a thing. I already pulled out of
causing
my
a
other,
ruckus.
I pulled out of my other Google thing. So if you want to share it, that'd be
Those
nice.
ruckus causing.
Them ruckus causers. Where is it?
It's
I
in
got
our
it down here.
group chat.
I
there,
see it.
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, media. Oh, do you want me to share it here?
I guess this is the other one. Where did this one happen?
Yesterday,
got it.
around 70 use.
Yeah,
I
you
got
don't
it.
need to worry about audio. I don't think there is any.
Bam. So it's just we're sharing the tweet here, right?
Well, yeah, there's a video in that tweet right there.
Okay, so Hey, media, where were you about this Urban Gang Films release? Not about a white guy Joker, sorry, but apparently people were literally knives out about it. Was the military or police informed? Perhaps they should have been. # cancel the media. So the tweet is unavailable.
No, if you click it, it will be there.
See that little Twitter link right there? Yep. You
Yeah,
just
click
had it.
the link.
Other
Yeah.
one. There you go. Click it. There you go. There
This
you
right
go.
here?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is the same one, I think. This is the actual one we were just talking about. Yeah.
Jesus.
Holy hell. Where's the machete at? I don't see a machete. I call shenanigans. There is no machete.
Several officers were assaulted and injured.
Can you make it bigger, Mary? Oh, I guess there is audio.
Whoa, why is it? Okay.
Inverted. There we go. I've seen worse fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, NASA.
Right?
What is it with you people over there? You don't know how to fight.
Right. Yeah,
Sorry, now I'm being like all xenophobic.
I
and
have a
racist.
thing, and it's this. It's that I don't fight. I don't argue. I just beat that bitch with a bottle.
Yeah, I guess what's going on, Candy, is there is a big, huge gang issue or something. I seen it in another story. There was some movie, I forgot the name of it, but I guess it was either a documentary or a movie about one of these specific gangs. So they pulled it from theaters, and I guess that's pissed off a lot of people in the gangs and some other situation, and I guess it's just escalating. So, of course, we don't want to make light of a situation like that. The funny part is the fact that
It's Frozen 2.
It's Frozen 2, and I blame rap music. Says don't blink. You're about 30 years too late on that. Oh, shit. Now all rap music is about is just, like, sex and drugs.
Lots
and
of
money.
wonderful women in the chat who are like, I'm a female and I support this message.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to see a lot of women in the chat. That's the best part of this, is we want you guys to feel like you have a voice in this. We don't want to feel like you're being stifled or anything like that.
No.
We want to go against the narrative, and we want to go against the grain. That's why, Anna, that Star Wars girl, and Mecha Random, and these ladies right here with us, and Geeky Candy, who's in the chat. That's why we do what we do, and all the other ladies in the fandom. And
Do you want to hide a body?
Oh man, he's still clutching her pearls.
I am. Yeah, I'll not. I have to. I cannot fathom like the fact that these are 13-year-old kids, and the only movie they could actually get into to see was probably Frozen 2. So that's where the shit went down, because that's the one they were old enough to not need a parent to go see, and that.
Right. That's
See,
what
I'm not sure if one of the fights broke out because they didn't pull that movie originally, is what the deal was, or yeah.
Candy just said, do you want to cut a bee?
Let the blood flow. Let it flow.
Let
it flow.
Jesus Lord.
These kids
Wait,
don't even know how to fight.
To go back on her, will you help me hide a body? It doesn't have to be in one piece.
Did you ever want to kill a man?
Do you want to cut a motherfucker?
All right. Well, I don't have anything else on this.
My machete.
Where do these kids get a machete from?
I have a machete.
Do they have a Home Depot there or something? I mean, God damn kids.
I have like 2 pocket knives and a machete.
And I ain't too worried about them, because seeing that video, none of them know how to fight.
I've seen a lot of fights, and I have never seen somebody pull out a machete and talk about I'm about to bore his ass.
That's how you hack it, bro.
Well, I think that's a game over right there, unless somebody's got a gun. If somebody pulls out a machete, it's like, all right, let's fucking talk about this for a minute.
Yeah, wait. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Let me hear your side again before. Yeah. Holy shit. I am not prepared for a fight. I don't have machetes. I don't have an axe. I'm just not at all. I'm going to have to go and get prepared.
Right? Think about it for a minute. Somebody pulls out a gun, you run, right?
Right.
Somebody pulls out a knife, you dodge. Somebody pulls out a machete, you got to take a double take, and you're just like, where the fuck were they hiding at?
Right?
Is that a fucking machete? Is that really? You just pulled out a machete? You win. Like, what are you going to do?
I'm done. You won. Fight over.
I just want to apologize.
Oh, someone asked if machetes are illegal in the UK, and I just looked it up.
That's not surprising if they are.
Knives or swords or knives with a curved blade that are over 50 centimeters in length are now illegal to sell, purchase, or import into the UAE.
Oh, then they are. Then they are. Where the hell did they get it?
Well, it was a good thing, you know. Here's the thing: these kids, they've been coddled their whole lives, you know, over there. I mean, even when we were kids, they were real coddled over there. I mean, I didn't live there, but I know enough people from there, and I know, like, just for example, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles over there is Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles because they didn't want the word ninja; it was too aggressive, and they had cut out every scene of Michelangelo's nunchucks because they're illegal in the UK.
Silly kids.
But it's okay that Leonardo's running around with fucking katanas. And Raph's got size with fucking 12-inch blades. But that's all right.
That's another weapon that if somebody pulled out, I would be like, all right, dude, you win.
I've got size and I got a sword too.
You could bring in like a metal statue that's like this big and beat someone to death with it. I mean,
pretty much anything. I've learned anything is a weapon, and you know this is why, because years and years ago, a guy I went to high school with, him and this girl dated for just on and off. They were one of those hostile, volatile, toxic. You know, they loved each other so much that all they ever did was fight, but they were so nice to everybody else, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I guess they got into a little rowdy.
With a toothbrush.
Yeah, I'm gonna stab you with a toothbrush. You guys want to come in for some beers? I'm gonna kick his ass. You know, like, you know, and they just keep fighting in front of everybody. But no, there's an episode of the Andy Griffith special that Andy Griffith show that I always used to tell them to watch because it was them. Mm-hmm. And if anybody's seen that show, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, short story long because I've already gone way off the beaten path. They get into it one night and the cops show up, right? And I can't remember if he shoved her or something or other. But as soon as the cop shows up, she's going off about, yeah, he did this and that and shoved and blah, blah, blah. And I threw a toaster at him and blah, 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 this and that and the other. And next thing you know, she's getting handcuffed. And she's like freaking out. She's like, why are you handcuffing me? He shoved me. He's like, yeah, but you threw a toaster at him. That's assault with a deadly weapon.
Those damn toasters. Damn toasters.
And so there I learned, that was the day I learned that anything you throw at anybody can be considered a deadly weapon.
This is the Shenanigans Improv waiting to be
made of wood. I could beat somebody with this.
That is a true fucking story, folks. I'm not even joking. That is a true story. Yeah, you're toast, baby. You're toast, baby.
I know you probably have super chats, Tom. I don't know if you
Did we miss some?
I thought I saw.
I was messing with so much shit I may have. I was trying the technical aspects of the show go to hell because I have to use frickin' what you call it, Firefox for the main channel. Did we miss any? Did you guys grab them if we did? Because I'm not seeing
I thought I saw something roll. I wasn't sure exactly if you'd gotten it yet or not, but
not seeing any. But this thing cuts them off so soon. So if anybody did, please let us know because I can't go into the thing to check. So unfortunately, death by toaster.
Death by toaster. Yeah, it's too far scrolled back for me now to be able to pull it up myself.
I hope nobody did. If not, if they did, let us know real quick.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
While we're waiting to see if anybody did. What were you going to say, Mary?
I was going to say, I don't really have anything else on it. I do think it's hilarious. And I do want to point out, we're having fun with this because what else are you supposed to do, right? What else are you supposed to do at this point? No one died. We're not going to grieve something that you don't need to grieve. And it's fun.
Sad.
No, over here we just have people killing each other at fucking like whatchamacallit, that chicken place.
Lottery tickets and such.
No, Popeye's chickens. Yeah.
They get fired up.
Still killing each other over the chicken sandwiches.
They ain't playing about their chicken sandwiches now. They
I've
are going nuts over, and I had one, and they are horrible.
I've seen no less than 6 different fight videos at fucking Popeye's chickens in the last 2 weeks.
I know someone died. Didn't someone die because of this?
Yes, there was one incident, but that was unrelated to. It was over a fight, and it started before it even got there. Or something like that,
Is it weird that I want Popeyes now, though?
But there's literally been fights breaking out in the Popeye's chicken restaurants over the fact that they keep running out of the chicken sandwiches or some shit, and some people are just like whatever. And there was one lady, it was just because she was being racist. So she got knocked over the head by one of the employees. It was funny.
The DCV Titan says we missed his super chat.
Did we? What was it? Can you rephrase it or copy and paste it? One of the two, and I'll reread it. I thought we got a DCV Titan one, but there must have been another one. There was a fight at my Popeyes drive-thru, says Girthy Gamer. Yeah, one of the videos, I couldn't believe it was not too, well, it's not close, but it was in my state, and I'm like, holy shit, this is everywhere. I've only ate there once. Yeah, the food's not that great. I don't get the appeal.
The sandwich certainly isn't. And I really had high hopes. So when I went in to get one, I was like, okay, these people are dying over these damn things. I bet they're good. So I go and I try one. Let me tell y'all, Chick-fil-A is so much better. Don't bother.
Yes. Yeah, and this is something we've all pointed out, DCB Titan. Don't need comics or books. There's 6 goddamn films. That's the first thing I said. So let's just ignore the fact that there is actually a shit ton of comic books, 40 years worth, no less. And let's not forget that there is a ton of fucking books, including that cover this period. Okay? Let's just forget all that fact. You have 6 fucking movies to feed off of. 6!
Yep.
They couldn't do it. They couldn't pull it together. They're tired.
Oh, this is just, yeah. This is
You
just
know how well things would have gone if they had just made movies out of the novels?
Oh my God, sorry. Nusay just reminded me Chick-fil-A is not open on Sunday.
It's not. It is not open.
I think they're going to start opening, though, I heard. But I'm not
No, I
100%.
kind of hope they don't. I like that they sort of take their stance morally, right? Plus, all those people get a day off.
They're already like cutting a lot of that out because they got new management or whatever I heard. But that's
What?
political shit. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So let's wrap this up, ladies. We want to thank Mandy for joining us as a special guest, as always. How do the folks find you out there?
Well, okay, yes. Mandy Summers, like what? Y'all can find me on Twitter at Wart the Wizard. You can find me over on YouTube at Mandy Summers. And everybody, don't forget to go and check out my book, Wart the Wizard, that is now in demand on Indiegogo.
All right, so do check that out. And Miss, tell the fine folks out there where they can find you, besides the link I just posted.
I am Miss Sarcastic Nerd, but you can call me Miss. You can find me on YouTube under Miss Sarcastic Nerd. You can find me on Twitter under Ms. Sarcastic Nerd. I make videos. I like to think they're okay if you want to watch those. And I swear, I don't hurt people ever.
Damn comedians.
Sorry.
Anyway, we got to pick on Miss. And last but most certainly not least, and we do miss Candy. So hopefully she'll be back here, I think, not next week, the week after. We're not even 100% sure if we're going to have a show yet. I will try and let everybody, or have Andre let everybody know through the chat thing on the Facebook-y thing that I don't use. Tom, check Twitter real quick. Okay, I'm checking Twitter real quick. But while I'm doing that, Mary, certainly not least, but last, the Mistress of Mayhem, the host of it all. As you can see, I can't multitask. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, good try there, Tom. Hi, guys.
No, it was horrible.
Good game. I am Mary B. I am the Mistress of Mayhem, disruptor of the
we
narrative.
got the machete.
Do what?
I'm going to disrupt your narrative real quick. We got the machete.
Oh.
If I can share it.
We got the machete.
A picture of it, anyway.
Tom's man.
Violence.
Hooray, violence.
I can't get it to share.
Damn it, Tom.
Here, I'll send it to somebody.
You got a mansplained for nothing.
No, here's the thing.
Pussy hat
you get to make up for it by sharing it for me. Because I'm incapable.
Let me find it here. Is it in the private chat?
Yes, it is.
All right, I got this. I got this on lock, guys. No worries. Poor Tom.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Literally, I'm poor. I'm fucking up, sis.
Oh my God.
What am I not?
I got this. Boom. Boom.
Where is it at? It popped up.
Chrome tab.
Oh, you're still doing it.
Bam.
Bam. What the devil?
Oh, that's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one.
Hold on. I'm just going to grab the other Twitter tab.
It's okay.
No, I'm not fucking up, at least.
Found it.
Checked my messages. I have nothing.
Bam. Here it is.
There's that machete.
There's that machete. Look at him. Get ready to brawl.
Some badass children who just got out of preschool.
Where are your fucking parents, kids? This is bullshit.
They need
Look
their
at
butts spanked.
Coppa needs to come get your
4'5".
ass.
I like how you can see what's going on. You can see somebody's taking the picture, and the guy in the gray's like, "Oh no, you don't get my picture." And this guy back there's like, "What up? Get out of here!" You know, you can kind of see what's going on in this picture here. And
What's
then there's
funny-
the guy with the machete.
With a guy, that's the funny thing is that ain't no guy. That's like a fucking 10-year-old kid.
Yeah, he ain't playing.
The child.
Well, look, I mean, like, I don't know that it's worth it to me. I probably would have just left. Like, I wouldn't be taking pictures of this ordeal. I would not be, like, trying to get close enough to get a picture of the
You're
machete.
like, nope, I ain't got to see Frozen that bad.
If there's one thing I enjoy, it's little spoiled brats getting their ass kicked by adults.
Oh, well, I don't want to be the adult that does it, but I do think it's fun.
Well, guys, this is what happened when you're not allowed to spank your kids anymore. So.
Y'all, this group is telling y'all fuck with Kristoff, you getting cut. Don't play with Kristoff. Y'all don't change nothing about that. Is a staple of the movie, and y'all are not to change it. People will get hurt.
I won't fight. I don't argue. I just cut that bitch with a machete.
Is it Mrs. Voorhees singing that?
That is true. Someone put if they were white, it would be in huge bold print. White people attacking people.
Yeah, I think so.
Freaking narrative bullshit.
My Lord.
Oh, Lord. Well, hopefully if you live over there, you're safe and you can stay away from
Yeah,
that
I hope
nonsense.
everyone's fine.
It doesn't sound like anybody got hurt too bad, so...
It's cool. Americans kill each other over chicken sandwiches.
Right, that's why, I mean, if you're wondering how we can think that's funny, that's why. Because we've seen some pretty stupid shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You live in any town in America, sooner or later, you're going to see your neighbor's wife drive through the garage trying to kill her husband. You're going to see kids beating the shit out of their parents. You're going to see all kinds of nutty shit. You're going to see kids running around Walmart with no clothes on, knocking shit off the fucking shelves, shitting all over the place, and you can't do nothing.
Oh yeah, Black
Because
Friday.
if you say something... Huh? You've seen that shit before, miss? You know what I'm talking about.
I just said Black Friday is going to be a doozy.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's just any other day in Walmart, but that's what I'm saying. And you can't say shit to the parent to try and rein in their kid, otherwise
I
then
was
you're
friends
meddling
with
and
one
you
of
get
those
beat the
parents.
shit out of yourself. But anyway, I think that's a good enough place to end this. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us once again on this Sunday evening. I want everybody to have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. I know there's supposed to be a lot of bad weather this week, so if you're traveling, do travel safely. We'll try and let you know as soon as we know if we're going to have a Toxic Femininity next week because of the holiday and all that good stuff. But until then, I want to thank you all on behalf of the ladies, and we will catch you on the next Toxic Femininity.
Proving that the fandom menace isn't just toxic white males, it's Toxic Femininity, brought to you by Midnight's Edge, with Miss Sarcastic Nerd, Geeky Candy, and your hostess with the mostest, the mistress of mayhem herself, Miss